Hey, top of the morning to you. I'm Michael, or as the grandkids call me, Roo. Thank you for joining me this morning. It's Tuesday, or as some of you would say, Roo's Day. I don't know if that's true, but hey, you know what? If you're able to stand and take nourishment, any day's a good day, huh? Yeah. Let's be here for a while. Let's celebrate life while we have it. Rough, tough, tumble. Come on. Let me say hello to some of you who are populating the show already. Thank you so much for you're joining me, and I've got a little painting to do, so I'm just going to drop to the desk here in a second. And I got on my vest again. I'm chilly this morning here in Charlotte, North Carolina, so it's kind of fun. Donna Barton, thank you for your email. I got it. It's a great story. Thank you so much. You got good art. Mary Jones, thank you. Marion, I hope you got a painting from me. I think I sent you one that was kind of special that just sort of slid out there on a holiday. Make sure to check that left my art bar downstairs. Living in two places right now, and with all the marketing work that I have going on right now, I don't know if I'm sitting or standing or coming or going. Speaking of sitting, and there we go. I think my chair was trying to leave me there a little bit, go down. Jennifer Parker, hello to you. Shannon, Patricia Brooks, good morning. Fern Skelly, have to turn over here because my computer's over there. You know, this is a high-tech show. Makeup! Oh, yeah. You thought somebody was going to come in and go, I don't think that's going to happen. That didn't even happen at Fox News when I was there for a year. I was a traffic guy on Fox News in Charlotte for a long time. Helped them start a morning program called Fox News Rising. And so I said, I hate to ask this question. It seems sort of vain, but what about, look, have you seen this? What about makeup? And they said, you do it yourself. I said, oh, okay, great. But we'll send you down. So they sent me down to the Mac counter, and they said, we have a contract with Mac products, MAC, and they said it's great makeup for TV. So they sent me down to the Mac place, and this lady meets me there. She's standing there like this. She said, so, you're part of the morning show. I said, yeah, I guess so. And she said, pay attention. I go, okay. She said, sit down. So I sit down. So she says, I'll do this side of your face, you do this side. So she goes, da-da-da-da-da-da, and I'm going like, whoa, I don't even know what to do. She said, you just take this, and this is your color. This is what you do. This is for lights anyway. So, yeah, it was a pretty high prestigious job. For a year, I got up at 3:45 and climbed in my old pickup truck with no heat, and it was fine in the summer. But I'd drive down to the station, and it's 35 minutes from here, and then I'd go in, and it's like, hello, hey, remember that old cartoon, Ralph, where it was the dog that looked over the sheep, the sheepdog, yeah, and he'd go, morning, Ralph, and they'd have his coffee, and they'd punch the clock. That's kind of how it was. So I learned to do my makeup, and so that's not going to happen on this show. This is just a fun little show. So good to have you here, Fern. Good morning, Belinda. Michelle, happy to have you here. Alice Jordan, thank you for saying hello. Julie Walder, thank you. Waldner, Lynn Corrado, thank you. Jackie Wallace, Mickey Hump, Belinda, wow, Michelle, Tina, Lana, Lori. Wow, it's pretty amazing that you guys show up every day to do this and be encouraged. And here's the thing. Encourage, yes, but you're encouraging yourself by the discipline of just showing up to play with art and showing up to say, I want to be creative, and I want to create a community of people who say, I'm doing that too. Are you learning that? I'm learning that. That's what life is about, okay? We share our values, we share our hopes, we share our dreams. We hold each other accountable to some things. You really can't hold people accountable. People can do what they want and tell you what they want. You figure that out today, right? But you also have the ability to say to some folks who are in a panic mode, turn the news off. You know what? The news and the political system is not in charge of your life in this world. They're just not. They may make it a little more complicated on you, and they may do some things that you don't agree with, but they're not in charge of who you are and what you do. No, they're not. They can tell you to pay more taxes, but they're still not in charge of here and here and the line that connects those two. Do you realize that? I turn them off. Carol and I catch a couple stories maybe sometimes. She prepared a meal last night. Anna Garden, I just want to thank you. You don't even know me. I'd love to put a rooster in one of your kitchens someday. But when she's got one of the Anna Garden cookbooks open, I'm just going like, bring it on. So every now and then. All right. Hey, Pat Cummings, yo, brother, thank you for being on the show, man. I hope you're doing well. I follow you a little bit. My friend from St. Augustine, who's hopped around the country. Know Pat from our Young Life days. So, yo, brother, thank you. Pat's probably out getting ready to smoke something on the grill. An armadillo. We call that possum on the half shell where I grew up. Skeeter Pal, good to have you here. Judy, Bob. Thank you, Bob. Bob showed a picture the other day of him painting or getting ready to paint, and he had 6 water jars out. I'm going like, Bob, what are you doing? You're baptizing your paintings, man. Just one piece of water is fine. I use one piece of water. It's frozen water in Minnesota. This didn't even get washed out from yesterday, so it's looks like lemonade, doesn't it? I'm not going to drink you that, but hey, but I'm glad you guys are here. I'm going to say hello just one more second here to Sandra Stone and Heidi. Thank you for being back. It's the first day of the fall, she says. That's what made Humpty Dumpty had a great fall, right? To make up for his lousy summer. Raylene, thank you for being here. Cindy, Jean-Anne Fugit Basolk, what a name it is. I appreciated your note. Thank you very much. I'm just hoping that Rad got some coffee in Australia this morning. That's what I hope before they go to bed over there. Terry Tardy, you're here again. Hey, thank you, my friend. Glad that you're there too. Good luck to you and your Young Life stuff out in Coos Bay. Chris, hello. Elaine. All right, I'm going to stop for a minute. Teresa Miller, thank you. Judy Dole. It's hard to stop, though, because I love saying hi to some of you people who are here. Just finished freestyle sketch yesterday. That's awesome. And hi, everyone from Tennessee. That's everyone. And that's not a hyperbole because I know that Pam would just run around and say hi to everyone in Tennessee. Don't you love that? I do love it, actually. And I miss the mountains of Tennessee sometimes. All right, so here we go. Let me jump down to the desk and show you what I got going this morning. A little shameless promotion. But some of you, I've gotten 4 emails on how to find the book. Hey, Roo, what's a wheelbarrow? Whatever it is, I wrote it. Hey, just go to the website, roodoodles.com, and don't just stay on that page. Scroll through it, and you'll go, oh, it says order Roo's book here. That'll take you to Etsy. If you want the book from Etsy, you can get it. You can order it from me, and I'll actually sign the book and paint in it. I'm going to show you what that looks like here in just a second. If you want the book right now from Amazon, it is available on Amazon. You can just order it at Amazon.com. And it'll show up. Here we go. So a little music, and I'm going to paint this for you this morning. Just this is what I do. If you order a book from me, this is how they show up. And sometimes the publisher gets them to me a little late, but it will show up. I'll put it on my desk, and I'll just paint a little Roo in the front like this as quickly as I can. Not because I'm trying to rush, but I do like the hurry of how it helps my sketching. Remember what I said yesterday? Part of the reason that I sketch like I do is based on my style. Part of that's based on limitation. Some people are just naturally more gifted than others. I was not one of those artists who was gifted like some of you who can just look at something and it rolls out and you draw it immediately. I had to work at it. I had to play at it. I try not to use the word practice because people didn't like practicing the piano and things like that. So I draw this little Roo in there like that. I might even sign it before or after. Down here, I generally sign Michael because that's my God-given name by my parents. I put this anvil on the page to just hold the page down, trying to get it over there so the shadow is. And then I'll write something to someone up there. This is how you get a book from me. I'll put a little, and today I'm going to paint out of this so you can just see my colors. There they are. I'm painting out of the infamous Altoid Smalls box. Man, this thing, I didn't say small box, I said small box. This is, I got this all the way from, it's a mile and a half from here to Trader Joe's. And so I get that. Not Cheap Joe's. Don't confuse the two. You can't go to Cheap Joe's and get the organic produce, but you can't go to Trader Joe's and get paintbrushes either. It'd be fun if they stared. I almost put my brush in my tea. See that? I do that lots of times. All right, so here's what I do. I just grab a little blue on this brush, and I just kind of holding the brush loose like I paint all the time, and just let it sort of happen. Rinse that out a little bit. Somewhere there should be some paper towels here. There's one right there to just blot this on. Lots of you roll the toilet paper in a roll of paper towels, and you make a blotter that's this big. I don't use that much water. In fact, unless you're doing great sweeps and great landscapes and painting everything, if you use that much water, and I know a lot of watercolor teachers teach that. I'm not a teacher, so I don't teach that. I tend to use less water. It keeps my paper from buckling, and I just put the water in where I need it. Remember, you're in charge of the elements of what you're putting in your painting. So just kind of be careful with it as you go. I just throw a little yellow in here like this. This is, I call it yellow, or you call it yellow. I call it gamboge or gambogie. Depends on what part of France you grew up in. I didn't grow up there at all. I did get a note from, right as the show started yesterday, from Jean-Paul in France, and he was standing in Ardon. I sound like I know these places, and so he sent me a photo, and he said, hey, the last time I was standing here on this bay, you and Carol were standing here with me. And missed just visiting with you guys and the great food we had. So he sent me that snapshot. So I immediately reached over, and this is why I want you to journal. This is why I want you to learn how to sketch small and fast. So I reached over and I grabbed my journal, and I shot this photo. Boom, that's it right there. He sent me that photo. We were standing right here. And so, Judy, what color red I use? I use two. I'll tell you about it in just a second. This is a red cells. There are a lot of red cells in Ardon, in south of France, in Brittany, South France. And so we helped a man right here get his boat out of the water because it had some repairs to be done. The wind was getting up. He couldn't get it out. And his mother came over later and handed us a jar of apple jelly. And so my comment was, helping a man in a jam, and we received some apple jelly. It just seemed ironic somehow. But this is why I want you to learn to do journals. This, of course, is my Japanese journal. I think some of you have seen this before. It's 10 feet long, and it's just one page after another after another. It's all connected. Now I've got to figure out how to get it all back in there on the show this morning. Here we go. Here it comes. It's coming back. It's accordion, and it folds down. The red I have on the deck this morning is Joe's Red from Cheap Joe's Art Stuff. They are great folks to work with. They are good people who get art. They've been at it a long time themselves. Joe is a phenomenal artist, but even the people who work there with him love art. They're kind of a part of a family. There's Brian there and Megan. They do a great job. And so so what I'll do now is I'll just pick up a little bit of, I'm going to throw some gray in the belly of this roux here. See, I'm not using a ton of water. I'm just sort of picking it up here. You got to be fast-brained to talk and paint and do your own makeup at the same time. Put a little bit of a black in this tail right there, just a touch. This is lamp black. So Joe's Red or it's called Red Hot Mama. Those are the two. Sometimes I'll mix them together. I'll just spray a little bit out of both tubes. I like a little red in the tail, something like that. That's going there. I always use a little Terry Tardy turquoise from Coos Bay, Oregon. Really, it's called Andrew's turquoise, but because Terry, early on in 100 days of me doing this show, would always say, turquoise, I like turquoise. And so one day I just said, it's Terry Tardy turquoise, and it kind of stuck. That's my splatter there to show that the roux's painting, and that also, when I send these out, I want people to know that I took a little time. I appreciated them buying my book, but also I sent it out so that they would know that this is an original and I didn't just stamp it in here or print it in. So it's kind of been fun to do that. So that's why I do it this way. It's a small painting. It's a simple painting. Everything, you remember that old saying that's if you're a hammer, everything is a nail. There's an old saying like that, and it's sometimes in leadership, everybody wants to use the same hammer to hit the same nail. But my point is, if you got a paintbrush and some paints with you, every paper is free game. Every sketch comes to, and so why am I teaching you this? Teaching, I use that word. Why am I encouraging you this? One, it's a great way to tell stories. Two, it's great for your grandkids. It's great for your school kids. It's great for your homeschooling right now. It's even great for you to communicate in business, how you sketch and draw things. So I want you to get used to drawing all those little pieces. That's what Rue 857 on Wednesday mornings is all about. It's not to turn you into a rooster painter. Got enough of those in the country. There's millions of them out there, and some of them are better than I will ever be. But some of them just paint a rooster like a photograph. And I go, well, that's nice, but I want to paint roosters that tell stories. Remember one of my rules is everything is fodder for storytelling. Everything. You got to be able, I could pick this anvil up and I can start to tell you a story about it, and you would go, okay, that's how that works. All right. So here we go. Got a little water splatter on the book over here. So whoever gets this one is going to say, wow, look at that. I'm going to grab my pen. I'm going to put some detail in it. There's a little bit of crosshatch or veining in the feet, a little bit of toenails here. Make sure his eyes like I like it. Maybe swipe through on this. And so that's how I would paint one of my books. I'll lay that down. So when you get a book from me, you get an original painting in the front, and it's just a little note. And there's a place on the thing to do that if you want to. It says, hey, sign this book to Uncle Albert. We're so sorry that you haven't done a bloody thing all day. All right. So that's, hey, Roo, what's a wheelbarrow? I just got 2 emails this morning, actually. Said, how can we find your book? And I go, roodoodles.com. Scroll all the way down. The October show is still open. And let me do a rooster for you today. Yesterday, I talked about this. And we'll show you how fast Pat Brooks is. I talked about this right here. Take a look. Boom. Start small, simple, quick, and loose. Everybody who paints wants to paint on a canvas that's 3 by 5 feet or 7 by 9 feet or at least 12 by 12 inches. That's even tough. You on this show so far, you've seen me do one big painting, and it was for my next door neighbor, and he's having it framed right now. He loved it. It was a big rooster. It was 18 by 24. He's a dirt moving company, and the rooster was standing on a shovel, and it said, out of the way, boys, I got dirt to move. And he said, oh my gosh, that's the atmosphere of our office. I love it. And so, hey, I sold it to him. And I gave him a friends and family deal, told him I painted it on the show, and he sent me a note, yelled across the fence and said, we watched the show during dinner. Thanks for the rooster. All right. So yesterday I got notes of you on this. You said, hey, show me that little board again, and what size is it? Don't worry too much about, by the way, Pat did this just in a quick little moment yesterday. And this is going to be one of the rules in our rule book that we're working on. Okay. So some of my rules are going to be in there, and I'm going to tell you why I say that rule and why small works are so important for you to start with. Don't start on a canvas the side of a barn. Okay. Sea Rock City can do that, but they've had professional people who started small. Start small, work on small paintings, and then graduate up from there. That's the best way, I think, to go at it. All right, so if you want some counsel, you just got some. This is the board that I showed yesterday, and I got emails, so I'm trying to catch some of these up. Here's what you said. You said, what size is that board? I need to know the size of that board. Look, that doesn't matter. This is just one that I can put a small piece of paper on like so and hold it. And if I'm sitting waiting to have my oil changed in my car, or I'm at the pedicure, yes, with my wife, I can paint. I've done 3 paintings there this last year, and I've given them to the ladies there who love them. And they all are, they're silly, but they're kind of fun. And so it keeps me from sitting there and feeling a little anxious also. Sometimes there's another guy in there, but most of the time it's women. So I just kind of make myself busy over there and sketch. But I put this hole in here, and notice it's not in the center, and it's not completely round. You see that? It's kind of a ellipsoid, and here's why I did that, because this is not comfortable for me. This is comfortable. This is even more comfortable. My thumb rests in there, and it gives me a good grip on the board. Okay, so that's why I put the hole there. Plus, also, if it's in my briefcase, I can just reach in and pull it out. So that's how that works. I use small paper lots of times, okay? Small paper. So if I got something like this, I can clamp it on with a little bulldog brush if I want to do that, or a little bulldog clip right there. Don't take my art down, okay? So those are little helpful tips as you go through your day. What I thought I'd do this morning is a couple things. One is I'm always talking about people who say they can't paint because they can't draw a straight line. And I'll go, well, very rarely is straight lines used in art. Architecture, yes. Walls, yes. Straight lines in art, in the kind of art that we do. Sketch art, look at this. Not a straight line in this painting. Just not one there. So what I thought I'd do is I'll show you a rooster. It was a little more straight lines. Here we go. So I'm going to do some straight line rooster, just for fun. All right. Debbie, thank you. I love your small works. I'll leave the big stuff for someone else. That's kind of the way I feel sometimes. And by the way, those of you who want to sell some of your art, and I'm going to do a class on that the first of the year, how to sell your work, how to sell your small art. Some of you who want to do that, I'm going to talk about small works and how you can sell inexpensively originals and take your wife out to dinner. paint your house, buy some tools, have art supplies, because you know what? These things are expensive. When you start buying lots of paintbrushes, they add up. And so what if I could sell my art and share my stories with friends, pay for my art supplies? Wouldn't that be a fun hobby to have? Okay. How many golfers spend a fortune and never make any money back on it? Okay. Very few have the card. Okay. So here we go. Good morning, Laura B. from Ohio, Chile, Ohio. So glad to have you here. Watching from the hospital. Tamberly, thank you for being here. Suzanne, thank you for being here. All right. Some of you are talking about the Aqua Brush. Let me write that down here. A-U-Q-U-A brush. Might talk about that this morning too. All right, let me draw a straight line rooster. Here's what I mean by that. Look, lines in this are kind of straight. See that? Even his bill is kind of straight. And I drew a triangle almost for his waddle. And I said bill, but it's a beak. You know that, okay? So, and then we'll come down here with his chest and go back this way. Sometimes I do these. These, by the way, are the mechanical looking roos that I'm doing in my book, the Robots. But I want you to see. People say, oh, there's no straight lines. Still doing the same thing. What am I doing? Small, quick, loose. Holding my pen back here. I'm not holding my pen in tight. I'm not taking my time and making sure I draw this line. I don't even know where I'm making sure I'm drawing that line. It's harder to trace than it is freehand sketch. Just go with it. Just have some fun with it. Really? What am I listening to? It sounds like Yesterday by a very bad guitar rendition. All right, here we go. Yesterday, that's the only song I could play. All right, here we go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up my bamboo brush. I keep it bamboo. This is number 1 bamboo. And the reason they call them bamboo brushes is because, yes, that's a stick of bamboo. Take a stick of bamboo. This is a number 4 American Journey brush that all the paint's chipped off of. That's probably from doing this. Splattering. I'm sure one day Cheap Joe's going to ask me, Joe's going to say, how come all your brushes have no enamel on them here? Because you hold them here. What is that? I go, that's from cracking the splatters, man. And he's going to say, I'm going to show you another way to splatter. And there is some other ways to splatter. But I like doing it that way. Okay, here we go. Let me just show you what happens. Here's the paint I'm painting out of this morning. Let me move these over. I think you can see everything right there. It's all over the desk, so you got it. This is the view I have right here. Here we go. Good morning from Barbaroo. Sheila Nelson, welcome from way out on the West Coast. Man, Bainbridge Island up in Washington. Yeah, I know where you live. That's pretty cool. Mailed a few roos out there to you. And there's Andy from Almost Heaven, West Virginia. And thank you for being on from Melbourne, Australia. It's probably pretty late there, so I know I'm keeping you up. Make some more coffee. And Sally Craven, good to have you from Illinois. It'd be a little chilly out on the lake in Chicago today. But I love that lake. I love to go out there and look back at the city. It's pretty awesome. All right, so here we go. I'm going to start with the comb just because I can. Remember, I made those straight lines, but I'm just sort of dropping it in like so. Look at that. I'm being a little careful. Even though I'm holding my brush back, I'm just dragging it in. You don't have to color in everything. This is not Miss Skelton's 3rd grade class where she says, make sure, students, you leave no white paper showing. What? No. Leave some white paper showing. It's how light looks reflected off your refracted. I like refracted. That's a good word. Did I just make that up or is that a real word? I don't know. Sometimes, I went to Bluegrass Elementary School, so sometimes I just make stuff up. Bluegrass is in Knoxville, Tennessee. So for everybody who said hello to me from Knoxville. Now look what I did there. Can you see it happening? Take a look. Hey, from DeBury or Daybury, Texas. Glad you're here. I hit the yellow brush into the red, and I'm not going to go back in and try to erase that. Why should I? feathers cross over, the wind's blowing, you see colors mixed on leaves and trees and in nature and in animals. So I just let that roll. And so what you got is a little bit of the red that's creeping down into the yellow there. That's fine. It's sometimes those mistakes in watercolor are just happenings, and they happen better than you can actually paint them. So I just let them go. There's a little bit of a sienna that I just found up there in my palette. I'm going to come in right here. I'm going to grab a fountain pen. This is a big old heavy fountain pen. It has a speedball cartridge in it. And so I'm just going to go down with this. You see me do this several times. Some of you have who've been watching the show for a while. I'll just go in and I'm going to put some black marks in here with this speedball ink. Speedball ink is great ink if you're doing calligraphy, if you're doing block painting. Speedball makes some good products. They really do. Okay, so there's a little bit of speedball. And I like, you know what I always say about the bottom of the rooster? I call them this bottom end. That's the lower chassis part. If you're a hardware guy or a car guy, that's the part that stays on the ground, gets close to the tractor oil where he camps out during the night if you don't have a chicken house. We just let a couple of our roosters just kind of run wild. And back when we could, now there's more coyotes and all sorts of things. Can't do that anymore. You got to kind of close the chicken house door at night. Kept a black snake in there, but they got along. Black snake kept the rats out from eating all the chicken food. And I had some buff Orpingtons that were pretty cool chickens. Yeah, they were very cool. They look like they weigh 45 pounds. You pick them up about a 2-pound bird. You go, whoa, that's see how this is kind of a square root? You see how he's turning out there? Alice Jordan just sent me a note that says my sister-in-law taught at Bluegrass. That was after you were there. Yeah, I know that's true. When I was there were only 180 students in the whole class. That was 1st through 8th grade. 181, I think. So that's awesome. Does every city have a slippery rock? Nancy Klingensmith says you're in Rock, Pennsylvania. Oh, Slippery Rock, PA. So I know there's one near me. What is the brand of your watercolor palette? Neva Jean Goville. Thank you, Neva, for asking that question. Hey, everything in this palette except this blue, this sand, yeah, and this white. Everything else in there has been replaced. This was a Van Gogh palette, and I like it. I just kept it. This was brought to me actually by my daughter, or my not my daughter-in-law, my sister-in-law, my brother-in-law's wife, I guess, so she's sort of a sister-in-law, but is she? They were in France at one of the Tour de France, and while traveling around over there, they brought me some paper. In fact, they brought me some Fabriano like this, wonderful paper, and they brought me a Van Gogh set, and I was painting out of a larger palette, and then also a smaller one. And this one, I like the size of it. I really still carry this one. I paint out of this on Rue 857. So if you sign up for the October painting show, you're going to see a palette just like this. This is all the colors that I paint out of on that whole show. And I use 2 brushes. So I want to make that clean, simple, quick, and loose. That's what you have to learn to start with, I think. But this is, all these paints are American Journey. Let me reach over and show you what I'm talking about. This is... This blue right here is called Ultramarine Blue. It's called American Journey. These are made by Joe Miller of Cheap Joe's Art Stuff. And I started with them in 2005. I found them while I was in Boone. My son was going to the Appalachian State, and I was wandering around up there and saw this art store advertised. I went to it, and for the next 2 hours, I'm sure they thought I was shoplifting because I had just started painting. I had just done some journals from DC, walking around doing journal art, which is what I still recommend that you do a lot of. And I was in an art store. Now, I'd paid for a lot of art supplies through the years because my kids were in the University of Tennessee and they all had to have art supplies, and they helped themselves get through school, but Carol and I were always there to pick up art supplies and do some things like that. And so we helped them all we could. They both had scholarships in Florida, and they both came to us one day and said, man, we know we have scholarships in Florida, and we know this is pretty exciting, but we both feel like we're supposed to go to the University of Tennessee. So you go, does that spell out of state? Yep. And so they did. But man, what a treat. What a treat. They did the right thing. Met their spouses there, worked in the ministry Young Life there, did some great things there. Still involved with some of those ministries today. Pretty cool. All right, so this is kind of a square-roo. Isn't he cool? Yeah. I just took a ultrafine flare pen. You're probably going to find them today more in this vein. You're not going to find this pen anymore unless you're somewhere in the backwoods of some little town and they haven't cleaned off their shelf in 20 years and they've got a box there. They may be dried out. You're going to find one like this today. You're going to see one that probably looks like black and gray, and it's going to say ultrafine flare on it, made by Papermate. This one they changed after Brute bought them, not the perfume, but the trash can company. And yeah, I'm a pen snob. And someone asked me about this yesterday. They said, oh, we found these pens and you can do this. And I said, no, here's what I do. I like to argue with pen companies. It's just kind of what I do as an artist. I don't really mean anything by it. I just write them notes and letters and say, hey, if you would do this or if you would do this, a lot of artists in the world would be happier. They changed the ink in this pen. They changed the ink in this pen from this one, and they told me it was identical. And so I had to go do one of my little ink tests one day on a piece of paper. You know the things that I do? So anyway, this is Trader Joe's, or see, I did it. This is Cheap Joe's art stuff, and it's called American Journey Paint, and I love it. So I started there. All right, so let me finish this and go on to the next project, and I'll show you a couple other things this morning. I'm using this right now. I am ADD today, I can tell. I'm actually not ADD at all. In the words of Dr. Jim Poole, I'm just fast-brained, and I love being that way. Okay. And one of the things that I like to do is I like to do things that people tell you can't do. So when they say, hey, you can't use a pen in watercolor, I didn't even sketch this with a pencil. I sketched it with a pen. They say you can't use pen on wet paint. I do that too. Well, it's going to ruin the pen. I said, nah, that's what this is for. I'll get it to write again. Sometimes I showed you the other day on a show, I'll actually dip the pen in a little bit of ink and come in and just put a little touch in there. And you go, hey, I just used my pen as a brush. And then I'll dip it in and clean it up again, set that one aside, get another one, and I'm ready to go. The black in this, or the gray in here, was this speedball ink in my fountain pen, wherever it is. I laid it down. Here it is right here, this one. Okay? All right. This so appeals to the linear side of my brain, okay? And so you're looking at ultramarine blue, you're looking at Joe's red or hot mama red, sometimes mixed. You're looking at gamboge or gamboge, Gamboge. Let's see, it's got a strange spelling. Let's see if this is it right here. Gamboge, gamboge or gamboge. I've seen it with 2 E's, I've seen it with 1 E. I really like it. They've changed it a little bit this year. It's a little less orange. And so I find myself going back a little bit. So I may keep it for a while. I've had it for about 10 years. I've been using it. I might go back, or I might just keep touching it with a little bit of red right there like that. I kind of like it. This thing has everything in it except some of Terry Tardy's turquoise, and there it goes right in at the top. And then what I might do, you don't see me do this very often, I'm just going to come in with a little bit of titanium white right here. Just roll my brush in it back and forth. Roll my brush like this. Just a little more water. Just get this really loosened up. Get some white on there. And just come in with another pencil or a brush. Here's a pencil. And just splatter a little bit of white down in here like that. All right. I'm going to take just a washed out brush where I put that fine liner and just swab it a little bit like that. Then I'm going to add a little bit of sap green right here on top of that. I like that blue pen bleeding, and I like that. I might come in with a touch of water here. You can't see it, but there's just clean water on my brush, as clean as it is from my water jar. Just drop a little bit in here. Hey, I don't spend time trying to paint clouds. You know how kids paint clouds, you know? They don't know. This is really funny. They go, the teachers show them how to paint clouds like this. There you go. We see some like that, but we don't normally see the hard lines around them. And so what I do is I don't do that. I just sort of lay the water in there and let the cloud just sort of appear where it needs to. I think that's kind of how they appear. We see them from a different place. I do like to come back in with the pen on this wet down here and just give myself a little bit of grass. I don't have to paint the grass green. It's just sprigs looking across it like that. There's a Roo for you today. I'd sign him right here, Roodoodles. I'll generally put I put an M and I put 20 or 2020. That's the year I painted him. I don't put the day. I just generally keep up with the year that I painted it. And when he dries a little bit, I'll put a little more detail with this pen in there. I'll put his little nose hole right there, the little breather that you see on the top of his beak. And then I might come back in and put a few more marks here. Might put a spur in there if he's an old Roo that's cantankerous. He looks pretty happy to me. I think he's in pretty good shape. Okay, so there he is. A lot of straight lines in that Roo, all right? So, coffee time. There he is. Let's put some splatters on there just for fun. Margie, you on the show? If Margie's always watching, she goes, hey, where's the splatters? So Margie, here, this is for you. There's some splatters right there. And I like to take a little bit of Payne's Gray. Payne's Gray is a color that is neglected in your palette, but man, is it a great shadow color. And I just put some dirt down underneath, and maybe there's a little bit of sun coming in up there. All right, there we go. Sky has more color in it than you think, okay? All right. I see some of you talking about paint. That's perfectly fine. You can talk about anything you want. Winsor Newton colors are great colors. The yellow in Winsor Newton was never bold enough for me, and so instead of changing the whole palette, I do have a small Winsor Newton travel kit that I have sometimes, but now that I've started putting American Journey in a little pan like this, or an Altoid box, or one like this, or one like this, yeah, it gets obnoxious after a while. How many bags I have to carry all this stuff and paraphernalia. Got the bug out bags. By the way, those sold out. Thank you so much. And I will have some more done, I'm sure, in the near future. They sold. All right. And my mugs, I still have a few on the site. The Roodoodles mug is happening fun. Thank you guys for enjoying that. Here we go. Boom. There's what it looks like. I left the rooster white. I just wanted him to be the color of the mug with a black pen sketch. Hey, it was fun to do. Roodoodles.com. It's a diner mug. You know why I love diner mugs, right? They keep your coffee hot. You can put hot bacon grease in them and put them in the fridge. You can milk one goat, or if your purse is snatched in 25 feet, man, this thing, take them down. It actually weighs a pound, 1 pound. So it's coming to you. Whoops. Somebody just sent me a text and my text is turned off. So however that works, I'm not sure. All right, here we go. Let's do another rooster here. You know, I'm going to combine something. That rooster I'll just throw out there in a little while, and he'll be ready to go. So in keeping with small works, so start small, and go through the whole process of, remember this? Here we go. Here it is again, coming up to you. Boom, there it is right there. Start small, simple, quick, and loose. So here's what I want to do. I found these things yesterday. Take a look at this. These are little canvases. See that? and here's what I mean little. Look at it. I'm going to measure this to see how small it actually is. 2.5 square. This is 4 square. 4 square. Okay, so there's 2.5 and 4 square. I've done some painting on these before. Here's the worlds that when people say, oh, you can't do watercolor on canvas. You can't do watercolor on wood. You can't do, and I'm going like, you know, don't tell me you can't do it. We'll figure out a way to do it. I have all these pens and all these brushes and all this paint. I'll figure out some way. So sometimes I like to just go against the grain. I know you can't figure that out in my 130 days of watching me do this show. But yeah, you can. And so what happens is most canvases have to be sized or gessoed. There's a lot of work in doing oil painting, and I don't do it. But if you just kind of rub it and slick it up a little bit like this with your fingers, it crushes the canvas down. Yeah, see? I've already learned how to cheat the system. All right, so these are little canvases. They're bound. Hey, don't pay a lot of money for these. Order them from wait till you get a coupon from Michael's or I think other stores. I think Target or Walmart or somebody may carry these. They're not easy to paint on with watercolor. I'm going to show you, okay, that they're not. But watch this. I'm just going to take my pen and I'm just going to sketch a little peep in here. I think you can see that. I might come in just a little bit. So hang on tight. I'm going to zoom in just a smidgen. All right, so there it is right there. How did that hide get back up there? Has that been there the whole time and I just haven't seen it today? I'm pretty sloppy today. Makeup! All right, so here's a little peep right here. I'm just going to do, what am I sketching with? A 5. Okay, I got a little 5 pen going on here. This is a Pentel. Listen, Pentel Inner Gel Needle Tip. Pentel Inner Gel Needle Tip. If you buy a Pentel Inner Gel ballpoint, your line's going to look like a highway when you put water on it. And yes, I use pens that bleed. And going back to a few minutes ago, I'm a pen snob. I'll take a piece of paper like this, and I'll take this board into the office supply store, and I'll take an Aqua Brush like this, and I'll say, "Can I see that pen?" And they say, "Sure." And some of you see me do this. I'm going to do it again right here on this piece of paper. I'm going to sacrifice this wonderful piece of paper for this demo. Here it is right here. Take a look. I say, I need a pen that bleeds just like I want it to bleed. And the guy goes, I don't know what you're talking about. And I'm going like, okay, I don't need it to really bleed, but I need when I put water on it. He said, oh, run. I said, yeah, but run sounds so juvenile. I want a pen that bleeds. I want a pen that matches the color. So what I'll do is I'll take a pen like this and I'll draw a little box on my piece of paper. And he'll say, well, I sent this to someone yesterday. He'll say, well, you can't really open the packages. And I'm going like, okay. So then I'll buy the package like this. And then I'll demo it right here or outside. And then if I don't like it, I'm just going to return it. So which is easier for you guys? For me to just have one out of the box up there open, or could you just put a pen down here for me to demo? So I think I was working with this 5 here. So this is an 05 Pentel. This is an 07 Pentel. Look, remember these are needle point. Okay, this is a Flare Ultra Fine. That's what that stands for right there. This is the one they discontinued. This is the Ultra Fine Flare. Ultra Fine Flare. Okay. This is a Stylus Pen. I did this on my art show at 8:57 to start off, even before they started. So this is Stylus. Okay. This is a Speedball pen. This is a fountain pen, but it has Speedball ink. This is a Pilot pen, fountain pen. It's Pilot ink, and it is fine nib. Okay, that's enough for now, but you get an idea. But I know this. I keep these going. By the way, some of you have a Lamy fountain pen. It's a medium nib Lamy. Okay, Lamy, Lamy, tomato. Okay, so here's just clean water. Just going to start with clean water. You ready? There's all the pens right there. I'll try to slide this up as I go. Here's the Pentel. I just go a little water on it and swipe. Clean water, a little water on it and swipe. Flare, a little water on it and swipe. Ultrafine, water, swipe. Got it? That's what we're doing on all the pens. I do this in the office supply store. And sometimes 2 or 3 other people will come over and go, hey, we need to come over. The guy on aisle 3 has lost his cotton picking mind. And then they say, what do you do? And I say, now wait. I was going to do it with Aqua Brush. Since I don't have water there, I do it with one of these. Sorry. Here we go. Here's the Aqua Brush right here. This is just a brush that holds water. It unscrews. Inside the handle, you put water. You got to be careful. Sometimes they drip out more than you want. You're in charge of the water department. I'll get a little bit to come out of the end here in just a second. If it works, this one may be stopped up. No, there it comes. And so I just put a little on and I swipe. Okay, there it is right there. Okay, so then I just wait for a few seconds. And look here, look what's happening. Look at this. Look at this Lamy. Look at my fine point. Look at my speedball. This speedball has a lot of blue. This one has a lot more dark in it. This is, what is this? Parker ink, I think. Here's the Stylus. It has a lot of green in it. The Ultrafine has purple. The Flare has even more purple. And these two have a black, blue, green, which looks like Payne's Gray. So there you go. That's how you got to do your pens sometimes. And so what I've done in my style, this is not how you should change. This is your style if your style goes to storytelling. When I'm on the road and I'm working on my journal, whatever it is, and I carry another one of these somewhere. Here's a blank one for my next trip right here. This is an Accordion Journal. All these pages just kind of roll out like that. This is the one I did in France recently. And so what I do is I'll just, while I'm sitting on the airplane, I'll take one of these pens, the 5 or the 7, and I'll just do my sketch. So I'll sketch the airplane or coming in. I knew we were getting ready to touch down. It's 11:50 Eastern. It's 5:50 in Paris. I'm getting ready to sit down at Charles de Gaulle. And so I just drew the landing gear. There it is right there. So I'm piddling around with that. Then that first stop was coffee. Some of you have seen this before. I wanted to go to Sennelier, the oldest art store in Paris. So I wanted to do the sign out front that said Sennelier, Cheese, Walking Tour, Monet's Garden. I've done all those in pen, and I know this pen's going to bleed. So it allows me to take a small journal like this, a couple brushes, a water pen, and I can paint all over the place. Small, yep, simple, clean, and fast. Got it? All right, so there we go. So that's why this board comes in handy right here. Okay, now I got to lay this over there and let it dry and find another piece of paper. What was I going to do? Got a few minutes left. I was going to paint a canvas for you. Here we go. All right, I'm glad I took that detour because some of you certainly want to know that. They make a 3, they make a 1, they make a 3, they make a 5, they make a 7. They may even make an 8. I don't know. I just wish they made different colors for each one for us guys who, and Terry, you had a great solution, put tape around it, but I don't want my pens to have tape on them. I just like them the way they are, and I'm picky. You know, it's okay. You're picky about your coffee. I'm picky about my tea. This is Make Mine a Builders, who are not a sponsor yet. Well, actually, they are. They sent me tea. I already have a new box of tea from Builders. And so anyway, company out of Britain. I love it because it says this country wasn't built on chamomile. All right, so here we go. I'm going to grab a 5 Pentel. Somebody asked, and that took me down that road. Here we go. You're going to find the pens that you love. These are just the ones that I have. Don't ever think you have to sketch with the same pen that the person who's doing the show sketches with. Baloney. Sketch with what you love. Don't even think you have to use the same brush. The reason I have so many brushes is because I've gone through so many to get to what helps my style. Did you hear that? I've gone through a lot of that and weeded them out till I get what helps my style. Okay? So I'm not painting with this brush today, which is about as big as this canvas. It'd be a little tough to do the detail. It'd be great if I just wanted to buzz the whole thing in there and turn it another color. Here we go. Little peep on here. I like little peeps because I think they have a place in my art for telling stories, and I like because they're kind of fluffy and puffy, and especially when they're kind of brand new. His leg's way back there, but I'll put another one out here like this. So just a little fat peep on this thing, and maybe I'll make him a little coffee peep like this. Little arrow that says coffee. Okay, so that's all I need. A little sketch there. See that? All right. So let me just grab a little paintbrush. Let's use this. This is a number something. Number 3, I think. American Journey brush. All right. So here's where painting with water first really works. So just come in and just paint with a little bit of water. Look what's happening already. You see how that water just beat it up on there? Look at that. It's just kind of laying there. But what happens when I start to push it down into the canvas? So I'm painting with the brush that God gave me. I'm doing a little finger painting method here. All right. So I'm just letting that water soak in there like this. And I'm letting some of that water go up there and break the pen down. Remember the demonstration we just did? Then I'm going to go get my paint over here. You can't see it, I don't think, but it's right here. Now you can. I'm just going to let my brush dance in here amongst that water. I'm not, hey, look, he's not brushing. He's not painting. He's just pushing it in places and dropping it off. My brush becomes a delivery system to just get the color to the paper. I'm going to come in here with a little bit of this. That's pretty cool right there. A little darker brown. Painting on canvas is a little tricky, okay? It's a little tricky. You got to just go with it a little bit. See what's happening right there? The paint's not even staying there. It's rolling out. But if I stay at it and I keep coating it enough, the fibers of the canvas get wet. And then they start to hold it. I love that. Okay. What I might do then is come back in and take a boulder. Let's see if this will do it right here. C-O-F-F-E-E. I just spelled that out loud, didn't I? You know, there's a reason for that. Because sometimes I misspell words because my brain goes so fast. And I go, and the other reason I spell words because I don't really know how to spell words. Coffee I can handle though. So a little black in here, just right in here like this. Maybe a wing in here. I could do that with this pen. Watch what happens when I put this pen in here. It's going to bleed. So I'm going to get a little extra. Put his eye in here like this. You know how to hang these canvases? These are sort of cool. I think I paid $1.19 for this little canvas or something. Okay, I just told you that, and somebody will want to buy this, and I'll go, oh, wait. No, I'm just kidding. But here's the thing. Take a push pin. Yeah, just take a push pin, like so. See if I can do this. Ta-da! Oh, that didn't work too well, did it? Well, because I can't push it into this board far enough. I need a piece of foam core, and I don't have any up here. But you understand, if I push this push pin into the wall, like so, this little thing will hang just perfectly right there. Oops, where's my camera? There it is right there. Oh, there, you can get it on the back side. See that? Is that cool? All right. Now, what I did was I held it up and messed it up, but that's okay. I'll take a little paper towel, clean that off, go back in here, get a little bit of lead color going back into the canvas right there. Now, it takes us a little longer to dry because this watercolor is resting up on the canvas, but once it dries, it's going to be awesome. In fact, then I might come back with put the wing in, see that? And then put some little pin feathers back here like so. Maybe some other feathers sticking out like this. All right, there's a little painting of a small canvas. Tiny canvas, 2.5 by 2.5. That's as big as that is. All right, got it? That's it. That's kind of how that's fun. Hey, let me do one more thing before I go today. I wanted to show you a different roux just with pens. Hey, these are watercolor pads. A lot of you ask me this on this show. You also ask me this on Roux 857. And by the way, September class, it's been long full and already happening big time. The October class is available. You can sign up for that at roodoodles.com. October class, and I'm going to do a class in November. I'm just going to do it in 2 weeks. I'm going to do 4 sessions in 2 weeks, and it's going to be about Christmas roux, holiday roux. And there's no information on that yet, so it's coming to you soon. But you learn things that sometimes you don't have time in other painting classes to learn, and we'll just talk and rattle. That's why I use this for, too, ramp you up to 857s. Look, this is a watercolor pad. Here's what I mean by that. Block. That means it's glued down on all the edges. So around all these edges that you're seeing right here, there is around all these edges right here, there is a water-based glue, and it's holding this down. That helps you on small paper hold the paper in place while you're painting it, but it also helps you with something else. It helps the paper to not keep from warping so much because it's glued down. That's why artists tape their paper down. If they don't tape it down, the paper will buckle and it looks like you've got a shirt that has not been pressed. The other reason your paper buckles like a washboard is because you may be using too much water and you may not getting the excess water off. So that's why a lot of people who do a wash will have their paper tilted up like so, okay? Not just flat, but tilted up a little bit. In this case, on watercolor blocks, not like a pad is just glued together at one end. If you go to buy a pad, the leaves on a pad are going to be loose like this. Just pick it up and it's all glued at one place here, like so. You got that? Okay. On a block, it's glued down everywhere. So when you're done painting and the painting is dry, you can take a palette knife, or you got to be careful. If you take a too big a knife, you can rip your paper. And you slide it in, put the pressure downward, and then just cut through the glue like so. Slide it around like so. Slide it around like so. And then you've got the single piece that comes off like this and leaves you pristine paper underneath. So that's the advantage of a block. Paper doesn't warp as much, and it also helps you keep everything else kind of clean. The reason most people don't like it is because you want to go to paint something else and you think, oh, that's my only piece of paper. That's not my case, because I have all kinds of papers and pads and things. This is 140-pound cold press. So here we go. Last painting for the day. Let me do it here. Anyone here, how do they fix buckled paper? It's kind of tough. And so don't use too much water. If the paper is thick, sometimes it will go back. Sometimes you might have to wet it and lay a piece of acrylic on it and press it. You know, go get your anvil. So don't use too much water. Hey, look, don't use too much paint. You can always go back and add paint. Sketch lightly, paint lightly, okay? Keep it light. Here we go. Here's a little Roo that's looking up like so, and I'm going to do him in speedball ink like so. He looks like the other Roo going the other way. By the way, fountain pens and 140-pound paper don't mix really well. Okay, they just don't, which I kind of like because it makes my sketches even rougher. So I'm using that to my advantage. You're going like, what did he just say? I'm saying because this pen skips, because fountain pens tend to skip on this sort of paper, I'm just using that as my advantage. I'm saying, okay, that just makes me sketch that even lighter. So there's speedball ink. Here's my Lamy pen. I'm just going to do this rooster in black and white. I'm just going to do some drawing right in here, just some marks. Look, I'm just going to hash mark this. See here? You see what I'm doing right there? Looks like quilt patch. Okay? I'm going to come up in here. Where's my fine point? Oh, there it is right here. Here's my fine fountain pen. I'm going to go in here with that and just do some repeat lines like this. And then maybe some feather brush pieces coming down like that. See that? And then come in here. Maybe the same here. Might come in. So that's 3 fountain pens. Here's my ultrafine pen. I'm going to come in with that and come in here and just close some of that in. And then I think I'll put some of this in the legs. And then I'm going to take this stylus pen. Remember all this that I did a minute ago? Here, I'm going to reach way down here and get it. Okay, see all this? I'm using a series of like 5 of these pens just to get these different blues and blacks in this Roo. What am I doing? I'm playing with art, people. That's just it. Give yourself time to play. I didn't say practice. I said play. I tell 857 classes that all the time. Okay? Give yourself time to play. Now I'm just going to take a clean bamboo brush, and I'm going to start right here on his tail, and I'm just going to start adding some water. And I'm just going to, where there's a lot to bleed, I'm going to let it just do its thing. I'm going to add some in there, extra water, and just let it go. In fact, I'm going to come in here and just pull this down like this. Come in, touch his feet a little bit. I hadn't even gone back to the water jar yet. Getting ready to right now. Maybe after I do this and this comb. Still a damp brush. Haven't gone back to the water jar yet. Am I in danger of using too much water? Heck no. I'm just barely touching this. Look, haven't gone back yet. Still got a damp brush. In fact, look what I can do. If I want some more water, I can go right here and just pick up a little more by rolling my brush in that and just letting it tail out here. Now, I might break the plane here with some of these little feathers. What I mean break the plane is I run out of the lines, okay? Breaking the plane is such a theatrical and sophisticated way to say, he's not coloring in between the lines. I broke the plane. You know what happens when you break the fourth wall of theater, right? Oh man, it's the magic that happens in theater when it's the magic. If you've seen Hamilton, it's the magic when the king in Hamilton picks out someone in the audience to look at, and he leans in, and he goes, "You'll be back." And whoever he's staring at in the audience, he just broke the fourth plane. He's not looking at anyone or his actors on stage or actresses. He's looking at someone in the audience. And then he holds it. And the next time he goes, "You'll be back." Or "You'll be back." And I like to do that sometimes. You do that theatrically. And so it's crazy what you can do when you're willing to sacrifice a little bit and make yourself a little uncomfortable and break the plane. Now, look what happened by just doing this right here. These darker pens, see what's happening? This is beginning to take over. And now the bleed of the ink is giving me something that I couldn't come up with on my own. There's no way I could have brushed this rooster to be the way he is. I couldn't have said, "Oh, I want a little bit here." Is it unplanned? This is what scares people about watercolor. Don't be afraid of watercolor. Don't be afraid of being creative. You were created. Be creative. You try new recipes all the time. You say, "I wonder what would happen if I did this." Do it. Do it. Turn the news off and go do it. All right. Hey, it's time for me to quit. I had some other stuff I was going to get to today, but I don't even remember what it was. No, actually, I think I got here canvases and French journal and an Aqua Brush. I actually wound up doing most of the things I was going to do today. What would I do to make this thing pop and be a little different? I might just go get a touch of red and put it right there and right there. And then I might take some yellow and splatter with just a little bit of yellow, and I am done. A little paint helps everyone. All right. He is a handsome rooster. Oh, Cam says, oh, okay. Cam says a little turquoise. All right, I'll give you just a little spot right there. All right, see there? I'm listening. I'm watching you, coach. That's it right there. Maybe a little splatter right there. Oh, I like it. I like it. I like it. I like it. And then maybe a little splatter on the outside to show a little remnants of sky. There it is right there. A little of my Payne's gray on the bottom. Put the brush down and back away from the painting. I am done. Hey, it's always fun to hang out with you guys. I'm hooked. Diane, thank you for being here. Another inspiring hour. Well, thank you guys for your kind comments. Don't you love the black and white? Don't you love that? Hey, thank you. Got your Grit magazine yesterday. Judy, way to go. I told the Grit that some of you people had jumped on board, and so glad to have you here. Listen, I will go back through the comments a little later this morning and see if I can answer some of the questions if you have some. I gave away a painting a couple days ago. Was it Saturday, I think? And I don't think that person has contacted me yet. I'll try to go back and tell her one more time. Thank you, Pat, and thank you for your comment. Thank you for liking my show. Thank you for sharing my show. That really means a lot, and it helps Facebook people say, hey, this guy's going somewhere. Let's help post his show out there a little more, make the audience broad. If you want a mug, there's still some available, roodoodles.com. If you want a book, roodoodles.com. If you want to sign up for an October show, roodoodles.com. Some of you, if you sign up for November, it's not available, but if you put November in there, it'll start to show up probably within the next 2 weeks or so. Once October's show starts, I will have a November sign up for that holiday root thing. A lot of Christmas roots. I love painting a Christmas story with roosters. But I want you to figure out what your voice is and what your style is as you do that, especially for the 857 students. You got your homework yesterday. I'm not using that word homework. I'm sorry. You got your playlist. All right. Thanks for liking my show. I'll see you guys maybe Saturday. I think I'm going to paint Saturday morning. I've got some busy days. Terry Tardy says the turquoise did it. I love it. All right. Hey, thanks for jumping on today. All the new people, I'll try to say hello to you. Thanks for liking the show. And I'm out of here. I got my harmonica, and you know what that means. It's time to play that final note. I do this because it reminds me of old TV days, huh? Isn't it fun when you do that?